In today's show, it's time to look at the Western Conference rotations for opening night and, maybe some other games as well. Michael Bolton, where is he? There he is.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_Beeble, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We are available on all platforms. First things first, sorry about my voice. It's a little croaky. I had this cough about 3-4 weeks ago, and I just kept coughing, and my voice is cracking up. Now my partner has COVID, and I don't at the moment, but, we're keeping an eye on it. So my voice is a little shaky. That doesn't mean we're going to stop doing shows. They're still going to be coming. Just there might be occasional clearing of the throat or just a cracking of the voice. So that's just what's going to happen. We are 2 days away from the start of the NBA season. There's going to be a week 1 preview show come out today as well. So be aware for that. The best way to do that is, of course, subscribing or following the podcast or the YouTube channel, and then you will make sure you never miss that. So we're going to talk rotations for the Western Conference. Just something on yesterday's show. Jalen Suggs is healthy. He's ready to go. I think that he will start now over Chuma Okeke. That's great news that he's ready to go. If he's on your wire, he's worth an ad. Yes, he was bad last season. Players who are bad as rookies don't always stay bad. Shout out to Darius Garland or almost literally any other rookie ever. Jordan Poole, another one who was perhaps the worst player in the entire NBA. Suggs might not get to be as good as those two players, but he's also worth a grab on a team that's still missing Markelle Fultz and Gary Harris and can generate steals and assists and be a solid rebounder as a guard. So if Jalen Suggs is around, he's worth at least having a grab at and seeing how that goes. Again, so many preseason injury panics. Oh my God, Evan Mobley's hurt. Oh my God, Keldon Johnson's hurt. I was more worried about Jalen Suggs, but he's fine to go. And there's going to be another one we talk about in today's show where there was a lot of panic and he's fine. He's ready. Wani, he's ready.
Let's get it on, Gilly.
At least I've still got the voice to laugh like that. Dallas. Okay. Starting 5, Luka Doncic, obviously. About 35 minutes is what I've got him projected at. I think that Spencer Dinwiddie is going to start next to him. Well, I think that because Jason Kidd said that. There was an erroneous report from a beat reporter who'd confused, I think, some of Kidd's words. Kidd said that Dinwiddie will start and then come out after 6 minutes and run the second unit. And that reporter reported that as saying Spencer Dinwiddie will be in the second unit. And he'll be coming off the bench with Wood and Hardaway, which is just not true. So Dinwiddie is going to play, I think, 33 minutes as a starter. Next to him will be Reggie Bullock. I've got him at 29. Dorian Finney-Smith at 32. And then JaVale McGee as the starting center. I've got at 20. Now, McGee could push down to 18. I think 18 to 20 is probably a fair range for JaVale. I don't really see him ever pushing over 22. But it's a fair range there. Off the bench, it's the crucifix Christian Wood. I've got him at 29 minutes. With the usage that he gets off that bench unit, I'm not sure. Look, the upside does get capped by him not playing 32 or 33 minutes. Interestingly, he's hitting free throws at a really high clip in the preseason. We'll see if that sticks, but I think he might end up being a little bit of a value pick in drafts, even though, again, I do think the upside is somewhat capped by coming off the bench. Tim Hardaway will also come off the bench at 23 minutes. And this is, again, it's the tough thing with trying to find rotation minutes. Like, Tim Hardaway could be a 29-minute-a-game player, but how? How? I've got Josh Green at 16, someone that they've been talking up amazingly in the preseason, but I don't have the minutes. I don't even have Dwight Powell playing. I've got Maxi Kleber playing 18 minutes, because again, if Wood and McGee and Finney-Smith are getting these minutes, where are they? And then I've only got 5 minutes for Jaden Hardy. And I think at some point, Facu Campazzo, who hasn't officially signed, but will sign, will probably take that role. But is 5 minutes even enough? So that would mean that minutes have to come off other guys. And I don't think they're coming off Dinwiddie or Bullock or Finney-Smith. Maybe 2 off McGee. Maybe, but does it come off Kleber? Does it come off Green? I don't know. As with yesterday's show, if you do want to criticize some of these rotation predictions that I make, do it. But you can't just say, well, I'd give this guy extra minutes. They've got to come from somewhere. Like if you say, well, no. Hardaway will play 28. Okay. So do they run a 9-man rotation and Hardy doesn't play? Or Kleber will play 25. Okay. Where do the 7 come from? Does McGee play 13? Does Wood play 22? Does Wood play 24? And McGee play 15 or something? Like they can't be made up, the numbers. You have to balance them. It's how all this stuff has to work. Davis Bertans is on their injury report with knee soreness. He's just cooked, I think, this guy. And I don't think he's going to be a regular part of the rotation. On to the Denver Nuggets. The headmaster, Jamal Murray. He did not practice in the recent practice. Neither did the big stiffy Bones Highland. Both of those guys weren't practicing. The expectation for me is that both of them play on opening night. Ish Smith would be the one to watch there. He was the one running with the starters. So if those guys are out, Smith is a worthy grab. I have Murray playing 30 minutes initially in this season and then ramping it up as the season goes on. I've got KCP starting next to him with 29 minutes. Maga Porter playing 30. That could ramp up as I think him and Murray will get those minutes increasing later in the season. I've got Aaron Gordon starting with 31 minutes. And then, of course, there is the big fella, the number one player in fantasy, Big Chungus.
Big Chungus.
33 minutes. They asked him how his wrist was, and he said, fine. He played in preseason. We go from there. We hope nothing gets worse or there isn't a situation where he has to miss time, but at this stage, he's fine. Off the bench, I've got the Shark, Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown. Wow, I can't speak. Playing 25 minutes.
Baby shark.
I got Bones Highland with his slightly dodgy ankle playing 21. This is, again, the hype on Bones is really high, but what minutes does he get? Does Brown only play 20? I'm not sure. He's a pretty bloody good fit out there, Bruce Brown. That could be a change. You might go 22 Brown and 24 Bones. That's true. I got Jeff Green at 16. I have got Zeke Naji at 13, and that is just because I refuse to include a rotation that has DeAndre Jordan in it. Now, Michael Malone might do that. He would be incredibly wrong, but he might do that and put DeAndre Jordan there. But surely it's Zeke Naji. But I absolutely resign myself to the fact that it could be DeAndre Jordan. I just did not want to type that there. And then there's Davon Reed. I think we'll get the other minutes on the wing there at 12. And of course, Ish Smith would be the one to watch if Murray or Bones misses out because of injury. They do have Colin Gillespie still injured with a broken leg, but he is not. I wouldn't expect to be having a significant impact this season. But sometimes unwanted bills can be an issue, and they can be something that does have an impact on you. So we need to make sure that we get on top of those sort of things because subscriptions, they can just drain your bank account. And sometimes getting on top of that and canceling them can be really, really hard to do. That's why RocketMoney is the answer for you. It used to be known as Truebill. You would have heard them on this show plenty of times. You can go cancel, say, your Amazon Prime subscription, and sometimes you go through and you have to click on the go, you sure you want to cancel? Then you go, do you really want to cancel? We'll send you an email to confirm to cancel. And it's like, have I actually finished it? Have I cancelled it? It's confusing. Companies do this deliberately. RocketMoney/Truebill is here to make that so much easier for you. So instead of wasting money on subscriptions, get RocketMoney to come in and help you get rid of them. Tidy up your subscriptions. Very, very simple stuff. So cancel unnecessary subscriptions with RocketMoney today. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Seriously, it could save you hundreds per year. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Easy. Rocket Money. All right, let's go to the Golden State Warriors. Or Warriors. All right. Steph's going to start, I think. Yeah, pretty sure Steph Curry will start. That's 34 minutes for him. Klay Thompson, probably 32. I imagine they'll still be relatively cautious with Steph. And they're against the Lakers. I don't think they're going to have to go full steam ahead to beat the Lakers. Yes, it is opening night. It is ring night. I don't think they're going to have to go that hard. I've got Andy Wiggins at 33. I've got Draymond at 30. And I've got Kevon Looney at 23 minutes as the starter. Remember that. I've got Kevon Looney playing only 23 minutes as the starter. Because when we get into the reserve guys, you're going to be complaining that there's not enough minutes there. I've got Jordy Poole playing 28. Maybe he only plays 26. I've got Moses Moody playing 15.
When you look at Moses Moody.
I was most impressed with Moody in that trio of young guys. Moody, Kuminga, Wiseman. I thought Moody was the best player in preseason. But the minutes are just hard. I've got Kuminga at 17. And again, before you say, well, he should play 25, Wiggins playing few minutes. Looney playing 15 minutes only. Like, where do they come from? I've got DiVincenzo at 12. And I've got Blunty back in action, James Wiseman, at 16. Bro, Wiseman's going to take over from Looney. He's definitely getting 23 minutes a night. Okay, maybe, but again, where from? Like, Looney is a really good player. He's currently better than James Wiseman. Wiseman did have a solid enough preseason at times. Some games were bad, some games were good. That's, in fact, what happens with young players.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
But I'm not sure that he's going to be playing at 24 a night straight away. I've got him at 16. That could bump. But where does it come from? Which player loses minutes to get Wiseman to 24? It's not easy to do. I'd love to give him more. I'd love to give Moody 23 minutes a night. I'd love to give Kuminga 23 minutes a night. It's just not possible unless these guys rest, I don't think. That's how I see it anyway. The Rockets, Houston, cousin Kevin Porter Jr. will be the starting point guard. I've got him at 32. That could easily be 34. I've got Jalen Green, Filipino legend, at 34. I've got Eric Gordon at 25, starting. Jabari Smith is likely to play, but he played one preseason game and hurt his ankle. Hasn't been seen since. So I do have Jabari Smith playing and playing 32 minutes.
Ah, Smitty.
And then I've got the delicate dancer Alperen Şengün starting at center, playing 30 minutes.
It's a delicate dance in just 17 steps.
Off the bench, the wild thing, Jayshawn Tate.
Even the wild thing's gone well. I can't do much about that.
I've got him at 23 minutes. He is dealing with an ankle problem. And then I've got everyone's boyfriend, Tari Eason, playing 21 minutes. Tari Eason, I think he's better than Jayshawn Tate. It honestly doesn't matter if I think that, though. It matters whether Steven Silas will play him over Jayshawn Tate. And he might have his hand forced because Tate or Smith might be out. But there's no path for 28 minutes for Eason straight away. Joshie Christopher, I've got at 19. I do think Bruno Fernando will be the backup center ahead of Usman Garuba. That seems to be what they're doing. I disagree with it, but that seems to be what they're doing. And then I think Daishan Nix is going to play around 10 minutes a night as a backup point guard instead of someone like a Ty Washington. They'll give a little bit of ball handling to Green, to Eric Gordon, even to Tate and to Josh Christopher, so they don't need the full 16 minutes there to Nix. But that's how I see it working. And again, maybe Tate plays 18 minutes. Maybe you think Eason deserves minutes over Tate, and I definitely would agree with you if you think that. But it doesn't matter if I think that or you think that. It matters if Steven Silas thinks that. And for October, at least, I don't think he's going to think that. And I've pushed Gordon down to 20. Look, if Gordon plays 29, Eason's got no hope of hitting value. Like, just none. And that could happen. Of course, if Jabari's out and if Tate is out, it helps. And Eason should be on a team until we see what happens. But I'm sure I'm going to get it. Bro, why are the Rockets not playing Eason? What is this dumb bastard doing? It's going to happen. And I'm warning you in advance to be prepared for it. It's probably going to happen. For the Clippers, Reggie Jackson, it was reported by Chris Haynes that he is likely to be the starter. Then there was a report that maybe it hasn't been decided yet. Regardless, I do think that he makes more sense as the starter. And I think Reggie Jackson's going to play 24 minutes. Not much. Remember when he was paired with Patrick Beverley 2 years ago? This is what he did. He played 24 minutes as a starter. Paul George at 35. Kawhi, the fun guy, at 34. If I can find his sound.
I'm a fun guy.
I don't think they'll be massively safe on his minutes, to be honest. I think he will be on back-to-backs, but I think he'll play relatively regular minutes early on. I've got Marcus Morris playing 25, and this rotation's a tough one to figure out because there are so many players. He could easily play 28, but I think his knees need to be preserved a little bit. And I think Morris, along with Kawhi and John Wall, will sit one half of back-to-backs. They're the three that I think, not Paul George, though. I've got Zubats at 26. And then on the bench, I've got Johnny Wall at 22, Stormer Norman Powell at 28, which again caps some of his upside. Maybe he's a 32-minute-a-night player, but where do the minutes come from? I've got Terrence Mann at 16, who can handle some point guard minutes at times too. I've got Bob Covington at 18, and I've got Luke Kennard at 12. And you'll notice Nick Batum and Amir Coffey aren't in that rotation. I cannot play, and Ty Lue will not play 12 guys a night. I could easily see Batum playing over Mann or Kennard, but Kennard's shooting is elite, top 10 in the NBA type level shooting. And I don't know that they need Batum there necessarily. Speaking of elite shooting, yesterday I talked about Royce O'Neal starting for the Nets, saying that Curry and Harris were both questionable. They're both out. So Cam Thomas will get bench minutes and Patty Mills' bench minutes will jump up. And O'Neal will start for the Brooklyn Nets. I was going to say this is the team I have the least clue about. Maybe it's not exactly, but it's up there, and it's the Lakers. I think and this could just turn on, so much stuff could turn on its head here. I think they start Patrick Beverley, 30 minutes. Austin Reeves, 28. Lonnie Walker, 28. LeBron James, 35, and Anthony Davis, 35. But I am not confident in that at all. Dennis Schroeder is out, and Troy Brown is out. Well, Dennis Schroeder is likely out, sorry. Westbrook is day-to-day, but I do think he'll come off the bench and play. He won't play 30 minutes, I don't believe. I've got him at 24. I've got Kendrick Nunn at 24, and I could easily make the case that Nunn is a better player than Lonnie Walker, and you know that I don't like Kendrick Nunn as a player. Shows you what I think of Lonnie Walker as a player. I've got Thomas Bryant as the backup center playing 15 minutes. Could easily be Damian Jones. I don't think both guys play, though. I've got Juan Toscano Anderson playing 11. And this is the one that I guess is probably going to be wrong. I've got Matt Ryan playing 10. Matt Ryan? Yes, Matty Ice. Plays for the Lakers. The reason I've got him in the rotation is A, Troy Brown and Dennis Schroeder are out. B, he's a good shooter. And they have no good shooters. Like LeBron, no. Davis, no. Westbrook, no. Lonnie, no. Reeves, no. Beverly, okay. Schroeder, no. Nunn, no. Bryant, not bad. Jones, no. Toscano Anderson, no. Like, Ryan is a shooter. And that makes a little bit of sense to play him there because these other guys can't shoot. I could be wrong on that. They might not play him. We might get Wenyen Gabriel playing. We might get Max Christie, another player who can't shoot, into that lineup. So I'm really unsure. Does Walker start? Does Westbrook play more minutes? Does Nunn play more than Walker? Does Bryant play or Jones play? Does Ryan play at all? It's a weird lineup. Weird. I'm so down on this team. Like if I went to redo my season predictions, I'd probably drop them 2 or 3 wins, to be honest, with just how shit I think this roster is. The Grizzlies. I've got Ja Morant starting, obviously, at 34 minutes. Desi Bane at 32. Dylan Brooks at 30. I've got Santi Aldama starting in place of Jaren Jackson Jr. at 26 minutes. I don't think he's a full 30-minute-a-night starter. And then I've got Steve Adams, who's likely to play with a neck issue. Got him as probable at 27 minutes. Jaren will be out. Danny Green will be out. Tyus Jones, 16 off the bench. Zaire Williams is questionable with knee soreness. I do have him playing 23. That could change. I got Brandon Clark with 22 off the bench. I got Johnny Conchar with 16, and I got Jake LaRavia at 14. Now, LaRavia could easily be replaced by David Roddy or by Kenny Lofton, I think, in that rotation. He's probably the big question mark there to me. And, of course, if Zaire is out, I would expect Roddy to come in there and play like 15 minutes, and then some of Zaire's go to Tyus pushing to 20 and Conchar pushing to 20. Would be my guess, I think. The Timberwolves. D'Angelo Russell starting, point guard, 32 minutes. Goose, Anthony Edwards. Been a little bit down on Edwards in the preseason. I haven't been totally overwhelmed. But 35 minutes is where I've got him. Jaden McDaniel starting at small forward, 30 minutes. I don't think his upside is particularly high. Like, it's really hard to be the 4th guy, 5th guy, and then don't rack up gigantic rebounds, which he won't be able to get next to Townsend Gobert, or big defensive stats, which, again, will be pretty hard for him to get, apart from steals, with those other guys there. I've got Towns at 33, and then I've got Gobert at 32.
Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert.
Off the bench, I got Jalen Noel at 19, playing some backup 1 and 2. I've got Kyle Anderson, 23, and Jordy McLaughlin at 14. The artist formerly known as Torian Prince is 13, and Naz Reid at 9. Now, Naz Reid has put up really good numbers in the preseason, but most of that has been with either Gobert out or with Towns out. We saw last game play like 10 minutes or 11 minutes off the bench because they will play Gobert and Towns almost exclusively at center, and then you've got Anderson and Prince who can push up at the 4 as well. And I just don't think Reid will be prioritized over Prince or over Anderson, and obviously not over the two starting big men. That would be pretty crazy. Now, I was supposed to say this earlier in the show, but I probably should say it now. After you've made Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day, we've got a new thing: game to game NBA. Every moment, every top performance, every result. Locked On Game to Game covers every game from across the NBA with local analysis that only Locked On can deliver. Follow Game to Game on Locked On NBA, available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, wherever you get podcasts. I've also now got to tell you about the good people at betonline.net, your number one source for football betting and basketball betting info this season. Find all the latest player developments, news, matchups, podcasts, and in-depth articles and analysis on every game you can find. And as always, BetOnline remains your continued source for all of your sport wagering information with live betting and up-to-the-minute scores for every sport out there. It's the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite games and events, including Major League playoffs. Go Padres now. That's my son's team. I'm a Blue Jays fan, but now I'm fully on San Diego. Go Padres. MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to betonline.net. Use your mobile device to learn more. What about college football for the next week? Those odds are already up for week 8, I believe it is. Let's pick a random game here. Kansas, Baylor. Baylor, 9. This is a House of the Dragon character. No, I know Baylor's at school. 9-point favorites they are over at BetOnline. So you can check that. All of the action. Miss 1.5-point favorites against LSU. That is curious. Anyway, go check it out. betonline.net. BetOnline is where the game starts. Let's go to the Pelicans. Christian James McCollum, I've got at 34 minutes as the starting point guard. I've got Brandon Ingram at 34 minutes. I've got Herbalife Jones at 31. To be honest, I look at that Herb Jones 31 and go, it might be 29. I've got Zion at 33. He is still probable with this ankle problem, but I think he'll be fine and ready to go. And then I've got Jonas Valanciunas playing 27 minutes.
Jonas Valanciunas.
I've got Trey Murphy at 23, Larry Nance at 18, Jose Alvarado at 17, Devontae Graham at 12, and Bill Hernan-Gomez at 11. Now, that you'll notice that does not include Dyson Daniels. I really like what Daniels has done, but I'm not sure which player that they're going to give minutes to, or they're going to take minutes away. Maybe Hernan-Gomez doesn't play, and Larry Nance is exclusively a center, and Murphy is a 4. And then Daniel, Alvarado, Graham are the other guys out there. I'm not convinced, though. I think they want a little bit of size with Hernan-Gomez. I think Graham's got to get out there for some shooting. So it is hard for me to see the Daniels minutes. I think he could very easily be better than Jose Alvarado really quickly. And I know everyone loves Alvarado from last season. I think Daniels is going to be a better player. So don't be surprised there, but I'm not sure he slides in straight away. But because I can't really fit where it is. Jackson Hayes is out. Kyra Lewis is also out for the Pelicans. The Thunder. Tough one. I got Josh Giddey starting and playing 33 minutes. Easy. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander looks like he's going to play. For all the panic, for all of Yahoo dropping him down to 58 in the rankings. Congratulations if you got him in round 4 or round 5. I think you're going to do pretty well. I think Shai's going to play, maybe limited 30 minutes, but I think he's going to play. And also, it appears that Lou Dort is okay.
No, my son is also named Bort.
Thought he might miss out, but I got Lou Dort playing at 32. I think Pokuševski is going to start. He's at 28. And then Jeremiah Robinson-Earl at 27. I think that's how the starting front court goes. That means that the minutes for the Bronco Jalen Williams...
Broncos country, let's ride.
It's going to be hard for him to push into 26, 27. Now, again, I do think that he might have an opportunity to take over from Dort, but this was the opportunity. And if Dort's going to be healthy, then Williams is probably going to be limited. I don't think Trey Mann's going to be worth it, because if Shai plays, Mann is just not going to do enough. I've got Trey Mann at 20. Darius Baisley might not play. Got him at 20 minutes. They could just replace all of his minutes with Aaron Wiggins. That's possible. But I did go with Baisley, but I'm not confident with that. I think Usman Jeng has a chance to play 14 minutes. I think he would have played more if Dort had have been out. And I've got Kenrich Williams playing 14. But Mike Muscala is dealing with some sort of ankle problem, I believe. He could jump in for Kenrich. He could jump in for Jeng. There's Wiggins that could push in there as well. They signed Isaiah Joe. There's Pig Williams as well. They could throw in. There's Lindy Waters, who's a really good shooter too. There are just so many bad options who are good enough to be rotation players, if that confusion makes any sense. On to Phoenix. Chris Paul will start 31 minutes, I think there. Devin Booker will play 35 next to him. Mikal Bridges will play 35 next to him. And then Cam Johnson at 32 and DeAndre Ayton at 31. There is no injuries currently on this team, but Jay Crowder is not likely to play. Cam Johnson was dealing with a thumb issue, and Cam Payne was hurt as well, but both guys practice and they're ready to go. Off the bench, I've got Shamet at 17, Payne at 17, Šarić at 17, back after his ACL injury, Damian Lee at 13, and Jock Landale at 12. I guess Torrey Craig could get the minutes away from Damian Lee. Maybe Josh Okogie, but I really don't think so. But, that's 13 minutes there. And that's how I see it going. But I don't feel great about that back end part of the rotation. Does Landale deserve more minutes than Šarić? Well, he played better than Šarić in the preseason. So we'll see exactly what they do there. Let's go Portland. Damian Lillard, 35 minutes. Absolutely no problems with that. Next to him, Anthony Red Simons.
Dog him, Red!
Got him at 33 minutes. Got Josh the Hitman Hart at 31. Got Jeremy Grant at 33. And then I've got the big fella, Yusuf Nurkic at 25.
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
Now, the reason I've got Nurkic at 25 is what I've been told is he's out of shape. Now, if he is fine, then those minutes could push up to 28 because without him, they are in real trouble. I just hope he can play more than that. Off the bench, Nasir Little at 25. I've got Shaedon Sharpe playing 21. Now, I wasn't even sure if Sharpe would be in the rotation, but the fact that Gaz Payton is out to begin the year, they're going to play Sharpe, I'm pretty sure. I've got Justice Winslow at 15. I've got 8 minutes for Keon Johnson and then 14 minutes for Drew Eubanks. I think that Olivier Sarr would have been the backup.
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
But he is also hurt, so I think Eubanks gets that first nod. It could also be Trendon Watford, who steps in there as the backup center. In Sacramento, I believe it'll be De'Aaron Fox playing around 35 minutes. Next to him, 28 minutes for Kevin Huerter, Fanapants. And then, at small forward, it's the pencil Harrison Barnes. Barnesy! Got Barnesy at 32. And then, I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to start KZ Okpala. I don't think there's any need for it. I don't know why they're doing it. But I think he's only going to play limited minutes, like 15. And then Sabonis at 34. That would mean that Keegan Murray comes off the bench. Now, Murray was in health and safety protocols, is in health and safety protocols, so he might not play. I think he gets 28 minutes off the bench, and that pushes to 30 really quickly. I've got Davion Mitchell at 25 and Malik Monk at 18. Those numbers could equalize and be 22 apiece. Obviously, reducing really any hope of Mitchell having 12-team value. Trey Lyles at 11 and Rashawn Holmes at 14. But maybe they love Trey Lyles. I don't know why they would. And he gets more minutes there than Keegan. The fact that they're bringing Keegan off the bench is pretty dumb to me. I know this team wants to win and wants to make the playoffs. You don't win by playing KZ Okpala and Chima Maniki. Or having Matthew Dellavedova on your roster. Sorry, Dally, but I don't get what's going on. This is I'm Mike Brown and I'm bringing in the guys that I like. Can you please bring these guys in? 2 guys who play for my Nigerian national team and another guy who was great for me in Cleveland. And I'm not really sure that's the way to go about building a roster. Onto the Spurs. I think they will start Trey Jones at 30 minutes, Devin Vassell 33, Horse, Keldon Johnson.
Whose horse is that?
At 33. We've been told that it's going to be Jeremy Sohan.
Zohan now!
Starting at power forward. I think it's only 25 minutes though, and then Jakob Poeltl 29. On the bench, I've got Primo 24. That might push up later on. I've got Keita Bates-Diop at 18, but at the time of me recording this, the Spurs need to make a cut. And there's been whispers from the Spurs people it's going to either be Romeo Langford or it's going to be Bates-Diop. So be aware of that. If Bates-Diop is out, Isaiah Roby gets those minutes. I've got Joshua Richardson at 18. I've got Zach Collins at 16, who is questionable. And I've got Dougie McDirt at 15. But that leads Roby out of the rotation, Blake Wesley out of the rotation, and Malachi Branham out of the rotation. And I think eventually you'll see those guys jump in ahead of a Richardson and a McDermott, but not to begin the season. And then lastly, it's the Utah Jazz. Mike Conley, pretty confident Conley's going to start, play 28 minutes or so as a starting point guard. And it looks like they're going to start Malik Beasley, who looks like he's fine from that ankle problem. It could be him, or it could be Jordan Clarkson. It does not feel like it's going to be Colin Sexton, amazingly. So I think Beasley, 28 minutes. I think Markkanen, 32. Vanderbilt Bar, 26. And Kelly Olynyk, 25 is your front court. Off the bench, I think Sexton gets 28. And the man on the street, Jordan Clarkson, gets 27.
JordanClarkson.
I think Walker Kessler gets 19, backing up Kelly Olynyk. I've got Nickeil Alexander-Walker getting 15. That could easily turn into someone like Simone Fontecchio. It could turn into Ochai Agbaji. It could be Taylor Horton-Tucker. There's probably the options there, but I think they're going to start with Alexander Walker. And then I've got 12 minutes for Rudy Gay. I don't think that lasts with Gay, but I think Horton-Tucker and Fontecchio could move into that. But that is my 10-man rotation, and you might have taken a flyer on Horton-Tucker or Agbaji. I don't think Agbaji's got really any hope of pushing the rotation early. I do think Horton-Tucker has a chance ahead of Gay or ahead of Alexander Walker, perhaps, but I don't think that's going to be of much use to most fantasy people. They also still need to make a cut, I believe, the Jazz, and that would be as a Buke or Bolmaro, I think, would be the... Maybe all their cuts have been made. Anyway, doesn't really matter that much for our purposes here. Guys, follow me, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and on Odyssey. If you're on YouTube, you thumb it up. You drop your comments down below. You flick the little notification bell. You push right in on that subscribe button. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.